Hello and welcome back to Stationeers. I'm Mick and we're having a bit of a look at our new atmospherics. Now we've had an update of course, and we've got new atmospherics, hence the reason we're calling them new atmospherics. Well, they're not really new, they're kind of a bit of an update on the old ones. There's a few changes here, and while it's been a while since I've done an update video, this is the one that will break a few things. So well, it'll break a lot of my things there. It's probably not going to break your things if you've been using things according to the rules. For the people who try and love playing glitches, it's going to be a problem. Now I've updated the atmospherics. Now you find they've got the obvious there. They have an IC slot on them now there, although there is only 2 pins available on it there. So not sure how useful that's going to be, but I guess we'll find out once we start having a bit of a look at them. So we have got the air conditioner, which has had a lot of changes. That's one we'll be looking at today, because that's the one that's really going to break everything I've done. Once again, the filtration, once again, it has the slot on it. Once again, just 2 pins. That'd probably still be useful. We'll see how we go. The electrolyzer also has one of them on it. Not really sure why. Although a new model. Our input, I hope that's a water input. It's not the right colour. That one's blue, so that should be water, I think. Shouldn't it? I hope that's still water. Yes, that one gives me a great connection point. That's water. It's the wrong colour. Things don't work if they're the wrong colour. Yeah. I wanted that. Toss that dummy, spit that dummy. Right, our good old H2 combustor. Now I understand that one has changed, so I believe it now will not function unless it's got something connected to the output there. It was a time when we'd sort of just suck a heap of hydrogen in there and then just blow a bit of oxygen in as we needed it and hold the hydrogen in there, and it would just stay in there until it was all burnt. Now you can't do that. You've got to have something connected to the output or it doesn't work. And of course the nitrillizer, this is a new one there. You can tell that one's new because it's a little bit different to the others. If you look carefully, you can spot a tiny, tiny little difference between them. That one's orange. But anyway, that's what we've got there. So I'd say one thing I've got to say I don't like about them is if you remember the good old, this spot up here, it's taller than it used to be, so now I can't have things sitting over there. Got to go up a bit higher again. Oh, I've taken some of my space. Anyway, yeah, have a tantrum, throw that away. Now, as I say, not a lot has changed with most of them there, but this one here is going to be the real problem there because they've kind of repaired a lot of the glitches on it. Let's have a bit of a science and we'll have a closer look at it. So I've got some stuff set up here, which is a creative world, and I'll see how we go. Now, what a lot of the old one used to rely on was that the length of the input pipes, if you had messed around with them, you could change the speed at which it operated. So we'll go over here to our little test one here. I've got everything set up right. We'd better charge them up again, get them all going. And you're not switched on. Okay, so what we've got here, I've got 2 set up here. They're both identical setups except for the length of the input pipe. This one's just got a short input pipe. This one's got a long one, and we measure how many moles are in this pipe here. Now once we give it a chance to charge up, which should be good enough now. Now they've got pressure in there, 11 megapascals, 6 megapascals, it should be enough, doesn't really matter. Now if we switch them on, it'll measure how many moles it is pulling out of this pipe each game tick. So if we switch it on, we get 32.6. Right, double the length of the pipe. Previously that would double the length, double the amount coming out of there. Switch this one on, 32.6. Okay, so the length of the input pipe has absolutely no effect on it whatsoever. So if we go up to our next experiment here, we change the length of the output pipe. We've got that janky behaviour that has been happening for so long. They fixed some of it. Where's that one? That one there. I've switched them off, we're good. Right, so this is just measuring how much gets blown into the input pipe there with a varying input one there. So start at 32.95. Try the one with the longer input pipe, 32.94. Well, near enough. Alright, so the length of the output pipe makes no difference either. So we move up to the next one there. All we've done here is vary the length of the waste pipe. I don't think that was ever something that actually worked, but for the sake of being thorough, let's do that. So switch you and you off. The system is charged up. And so I switch that on. We get 32.2. For a much longer output pipe, we get 32.2. Right, so that is the glitchy behaviour, which was probably a good idea when they made the game for some reason, but nobody knows why. It made absolutely no sense to anybody outside the game. They fixed it. And that's the very behaviour we were relying on to use it to make super hot gas or super cold gas for fueling our furnaces and whatnot. So that behaviour's been gone, it's been fixed, and our very versatile, very useful air conditioner is now boring. It does what it's supposed to do, and it does what it says on the packet, and that's it. So now you can grab an air conditioner and you can read the instructions and you can install it the way it was meant to be installed. Boring! Right. But we've got the setup over here. Now it is set up just to measure power usage. We've got efficiency because it changed the way it used to work. So the old one would always transfer the same amount of heat from the input to the waste, regardless of whatever you did. And as the waste got hotter and further away from the input pipe temperature, it just drew more and more power until it was drawing about 6 kilowatts and starts blowing most of your cables in your base and running your batteries flat. Well, it doesn't do that anymore. It now handles this all with efficiencies. You look at the window there and it gives you efficiencies. So the operational temperature efficiencies, the input gas has to be around about room temperature, well, not quite room temperature, between minus 50 and 100 degrees, and you'll get full efficiency from that. As it gets hotter or colder, you lose efficiency. So using it to room temperature, it's fine. If you're using it to try and make something really hot or really cold, it just won't work. It'll just lose efficiency once you get beyond a few hundred degrees. We have the pressure efficiency, so you've got to have enough pressure in your pipes. Now this was the thing that tricked a lot of people early game with the old air conditioners there, as if you'd put this on Mars and you just put a vent on the output of your waste pipe and say, that'll work it, that's waste, we want that just to vent to the atmosphere. The air conditioner would try and pump the waste pipe up to, I think it was 100 kilopascals by taking air from the inside and pumping it to the outside, and people would just vent their whole base and not understand why. Well, that's why. That behaviour does not happen anymore. If you have no pressure in the waste pipe, it will not top it up. It just won't work. So you've got to have pressure in this pipe, which I have got from, whoa, whoops, that's not meant to happen. Switch that off. That's the one I want. Right, we can just charge that up from outside. I should have my good old blue analyzer there. So you just need a little bit in there. But as that pressure goes up to about 100 kilopascals, you find that your pressure efficiency sort of goes up. Now, as you keep adding more to it, it won't go above 1. So no need to pump it up to a gajillion pascals. Right, so that's what it is now. Now, if we start it up, whatever it's set to, it'll try and achieve that on the outside. Now I've just got it both sides of it linked together it still works that way. But once that gets down to 10 degrees, which is this one here, it has done that by pumping the excess heat over to here. By cooling that one down. It's now 5.9 degrees. They are still very close together, so our temperature efficiency is still very high. As the temperature difference between these two gets higher and higher, up to about 130 degrees, it drops down to about 5% efficiency, and it doesn't really do much. Well, it does 5%, so it just slows down and becomes quite inefficient. Now we can see the power draw from this one here. It's a bit glitchy at the moment because if I turn this up, now it's not going to be able to get to minus 150 because that temperature differential will get too high too quickly and the efficiency will drop right down. So as the temperature in the inside pipe drops, temperature in the outside pipe goes up. Once that reaches about 150 degrees, that efficiency should drop down to 0. Or temperature gets about 130 degrees and that becomes so slow you don't get much further. But we see it drawing 355 watts continuously. It doesn't get worse and worse the further they two go away, so it is always 355 watts, which means it actually draws less power than what the old one did. But there you go. So it is less powerful to use. But one thing you just got to be careful of is if you look at your network analyzer, you will see it is drawing 10 watts. That's not right. If you look at this one here, it says, there we go, required power, it is using 10 watts. That is not true. If we look on this one here, the cable analyzer, it is using 355 watts. So there's still a bit of an error on the logic there, so don't believe what it's telling you. It's lying. But that's what it's doing. So it's dropped down to 9%. It's only got down to minus 50 degrees, and it's just getting slower and slower. So it keeps drawing the same power. It just starts transferring less and less heat with each one as the efficiency goes down. So instead of drawing more power and has the same heat transfer as efficiency goes down, it now has the same power and draws less heat. So that's the way that one works there. So we're getting up to almost 100 degrees difference there, and we're down to 6% efficiency. So that's the way things are meant to operate with this one here. It's just hooked up. This can be connected to your room ventilation, or you can just put a vent on either side with it in the room. It'll be a bit breezy, but it'll work. This one has to go somewhere where it can dump the heat, or cold if you're using it for heating. So you've got to control this one here, or it just becomes inefficient. So there's no tricks that I've discovered to actually trick it into working any harder. So let's see how we can do it on other planets, shall we? Okay, so here we are on Mars. We've just set up our basic starter 3x3, just basic power. Our air conditioner is set up. We pressurised the room with the oxygen from our oxygen bottle, so we're pretty good in here now. It is 21 degrees and going up just from the sun. It's warming up this room. Now, so what we want to do here is set up our air conditioner. We need something in that pipe there. That is the waste pipe. We need something in it. Now I'm just going to fill it up with the gas from the room. Doesn't really matter what you put in there, just as long as you got enough of it. Whoops, not that one. I still have enough if I push the right bloody button. There we go. I've got a megapascal in there. That is now more than enough. I can switch it on. It will tell us nothing because we haven't started it yet, but we want it to be, well, it's already 20 degrees, so let's say we put it down to 10 degrees. We'll see whatever's outside will be affected by those panels there. If we start that up, we see the temperature in here should start going down. Not a problem, it is just sucking in from over here and blowing out just there. That's good enough. We're still operating at, pressure's a bit low in here, but that's going to be a bit of an issue for people who like to run their bases at 50 kilopascals like I do. But we can easy enough bump that up. So as the pressure in here goes up, we can see the pressure efficiency is changing, so we're good. We can see the temperature in there should be going up. It is. So the temperature efficiency should be going down to 66%. Well, that'll only carry on until it switch you off again. That'll just carry on. Now this one will just equalise itself to 10 degrees, and the power will then sort of go back to just an idling 10 watts on that one there on the air conditioner. And we can see that this one here will now cool down just through the outside radiators, and we'll be able to keep pumping gas into there. But we have settled down to almost 10 degrees, which is good enough for that thing there. It'll just go on to idle, and that's all you really need to do. So that is a set and forget temperature control, and as I say, it does not draw much power now, so you can just leave it running the whole time and it's not going to run your base flat. Or you can put in some logic there and get it to switch itself on and off as need be. But yeah, that's how you do it on Mars. Well, I mean, you're kind of really overthinking it there, because all you really need is a vent on here and some and a valve. So you could just take off yay, and be gone. Put you not there, so you can be gone as well, and I just need a valve, tray valve, VAL, there we go. That's all you really need for cooling, so you can be gone, all that other stuff can be gone. This is a zero power way of cooling, so whenever it gets too warm in here, it's just manual. You can just, just push that button there, and it allows the cold air to circulate into the room. Just with the radiators, that's all it is. So, yeah, air conditioner on Mars has never really been very useful, but it's an easy way of automating the temperature if you want. Yeah, so now this method here, so it's being very crude, very simple, but it will work on the Moon, it will work on Europa, it will work on Mimas, and of course works on Mars. So it's only the hot planets where you really need to go air conditioner wise. Here we are on Venus. So I've got my greenhouse, which just kind of may have blown up because yeah, the update broke my current game, but we have our new air conditioner in. It is cooling, it is just dumping the heat straight into a pipe outside, but we'll find as we go along, efficiency is still going all right, but the temperature in here won't be able to drop down very far. Well, mainly because I've still got the window open. That's better. Now we should be dropping down in temperature. Unless I've missed another one. Now it says we're in a room, we're going down in temperature. Now this one, it will only be able to drop between 150 degrees maximum between the two pipes there, between the input and the output. So we shall only ever be able to cool down to at most 12 degrees. That makes sense. Only be able to cool down to 312 degrees. That's just not going to cut it. Now we can actually cool down that pipe. So if we cool down the waste pipe with another air conditioner, that will then allow this one to be cooling into a cooler pipe. So we can go outside. Once again, that will give us another 150 degrees, so it'll be 300 degrees, but we've still got to get down from 460. So we'll probably need to add another one onto the end of that one and have a string of air conditioners, all stringing one after the other to try and cool the place down. One cools the output from the next, and the next pulls the output from the next, and so on. So let's give it a go and see if we can do that. And you've got to have an output, which we can probably just put straight out to the atmosphere. Right, cables. I don't have enough cables. Awesome. Right, now I need some sort of gas in these pipes here, so I shall put on some vents, And one more. There we go. Some pipes. Right. Now, let's make you work. I have got some pressure in there. Let's grab a bit more. That won't take long. Grab some for you as well. And for you. Heaps. And you've got plenty. Right, so we've got gas in all of them. And you. And you. And you're getting the heat from the room in there. You. We shall cool down. Well, we're not going to cool down very far. We're going to start you. Start you. And start you. Now that should be sucking the heat out of there. Which it is. That one is dropping, which will enable us to cool further inside. This one will take a little while because it's kind of dumping all the heat out of these ones into that one. So it'll take a while. This one here is dropping. This one here is going down rather rapidly. And the room inside should be going down even faster. But if the room inside is 20 degrees, it should be able to run this one up to 150 degrees. This one should be 280 degrees. This one should be able to go up to 410 degrees, which would then be enough to cool to the outside temperature. So that'll take a little while there to get rid of that heat, but that with 1, 2, 3, 4 air conditioners strung one after the other should be enough to cool that room. But we'll see how we go before that actually we say too much about it. Well, holy crap, this is taking for ages. So down to 100 degrees, it is going down extraordinarily slowly. This game has been running for hours. Now I imagine it will get there. We are starting to get our operational temperature efficiency up now because this is coming down to 100 degrees, but our temperature differential is still a load of rubbish. This is taking forever, and this is with everything switched off. If you've got any active machines in here or plants or anything that generates heat, you would just not be able to cool this down. This is garbage. These air conditioners are complete rubbish because in the time that I've had this going, I have had to add in extra air conditioners. So I now have, if we get out there, there I've got the one inside, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them on here, all strung one after the other, daisy chained along, and it has still taken forever to cool that room down. In the meantime, I have built another room with one air conditioner and cooled that one down completely and imploded the windows because I blew it down too quickly, and then did it again, and it's still been cooled down. That in there is nicely cooled down to 20 degrees. Not a problem. And while that one's, after doing that, I've gone in here and I have made a proper Venus air conditioner. That looks like this. So this is how you cool down your base on Venus. Get rid of those stupid air conditioners. They are using a lot of power and they are completely underpowered. They will take forever to cool down, chew up a heap of power. Now this is, well, essentially zero power. I have the winter spawn. On Venus we have atmospheric nitrogen, which these things need to grow. So I am just sucking in hot nitrogen from outside straight into this room. It is cooling it down faster than it's using it, so these plants will look after themselves, and I have surplus cold. It's -1 degrees in here. And I had to set up an intake over here to take in hot air from outside well, actually got radiators outside to actually get extra heat in here to stop the plants from dying because it got too cold in here. And I've got another one up here which actually cools a big tank of gas that's sitting above me there, and I use that to cool my base. So in the time that that room has gotten down to 100 degrees, I built all of this and killed all the plants, built it again and killed all the plants again, then built it all again, and it's produced enough coal to cool down a huge tank of gas, and I've essentially finished the room off. That's it just from these ones here. So this is the way you cool your base on Vulcan. Venus, you moron. On Venus you choose the winter spawn. So say there is atmospheric nitrogen, so you've got as much of that as you want. And that's what these things need to grow. Now these ones are electrolyzing, making hydrogen and oxygen, but you need to burn that back together again to make the water they need to grow. So you'll also need these things as well to produce a bit of extra nitrogen and a bit of extra hydrogen. But that's okay because they can live in this room because the hydrogen won't poison these things because these things make hydrogen. But I do still have a thing here running constantly to suck it all out. That's all we've got for this room. This is a much better cooler. So when you first start off, make a solid room with frames, suck it out to a vacuum, fill it with a bit of gas from your oxygen tank, a bit of nitrogen from your jetpack, start planting these things. Get a few of them in, you'll get a bit of it, then you start sucking in atmosphere from outside. It'll cool down the atmosphere as it comes in, just the nitrogen, not the whole lot. And just start putting in more and more and expand it. Then use the cold from here to move to another room. So that's how you cool Venus. Say Vulcan, the air conditioners do work, not very well. You can just use them during the day, or you can suck in a heap of daytime gas and use them all night as well. Yeah, the update has made the air conditioners, well, pretty much useless, I think. They are so weak that they're hardly worth having. The old ones used to just chew up a massive amount of power, but did provide a good cooling. These ones don't use much power and are useless at cooling. So, yeah, good luck with that. So the best thing you do with the air conditioner now is chuck them in the recycler and use the gold for something better. But anyway, that's just my thoughts. I dare say somebody else will figure out a better way of doing it. Right, now some of the tricks we used to have with the old one there, now do they work? Now one trick was to put a back pressure regulator on to the waste outlet and you would just draw out whatever gas came out of there. So the air conditioner never knew what the temperature difference was between here and here, because it would immediately realise that there's nothing in there, put some of this gas into there, and they were both the same. So it'd say, just run at 300 watts, not a problem. And if you had a long enough pipe on there, it would operate very slowly, but still transfer the same amount of heat. So you'd get extremely hot or extremely cold gas in there. And that would allow you to get some very hot gas to your furnace or very cold gas to your fuel system, so you could get a lot of power out of your gas fuel generator. But does that still work? Well, no, because that was dependent on having a very long pipe system onto here, which would slow this thing down, so you could get the very hot gas out. The length of the pipe no longer affects the operation of this, so that will not work. So, no heating your furnace that way anymore. That breaks a lot of my designs. Now the next trick was to connect your outlet and your inlet. So once again, the temperature difference between these two were the same. So it would always run at 300 watts. It would never go up to the 6 kilowatts that it could go up to. And once again, if you had a long enough pipe on here, it would transfer a lot of heat to a little bit of gas, and you could just let that blow out. And either take it to a cooling system or just let it go to atmosphere. So everything that was in there, if you set it to very cold, it would put all the heat back into the pipe, blow out the cold gas. So this side would just get hotter and hotter, and that side would get cold. So once again, another good way of heating your furnace. But that once again, that was reliant on this being a very long pipe, and it transfers a tiny amount of gas each time. so you don't lose massive amounts of gas from your furnace. That once again does not work. If you try and heat your furnace that way, this thing will just suck all the gas out of your furnace very quickly. That is not going to work. So goodbye to your electrically heated furnace. Well, pretty much. How can you heat your furnace now electrically? Like this. A pipe with a whole heap of these things on it. I mean, it does work. I've had it running for a little while, and there doesn't seem to be a top temperature on that one there, so it is up to 7,500 degrees, and is going to blow up eventually, so I'd better switch that off. Yeah, so that's one way to electrically heat your furnace. But the air conditioner is no longer going to be part of that plan. So can you heat your furnace with your air conditioner? Not that I've figured out. Sorry, I've been trying. I've really been trying, but I can't. Somebody may figure it out, but not me. Not today, at least, anyway. So, I mean, it has always been a very glitchy device that I don't really like, but it was versatile and it was very handy, but now it doesn't do any of that stuff. I mean, that's one of the things I loved about Stationeers is you never got given an answer. You got given parts and you got to put them together how you like, but this thing was always just too useful. It did everything, well, it still does everything it's meant to do. I think if you just give me a condenser and an evaporator and make me use latent heat or adiabatic heating to try and create my own air conditioner, that would be fun. This one's too neat of a package now, and it has one purpose and one purpose alone, which makes it boring. But anyway, so that's our new air conditioner. It's going to break a lot of stuff, well, just about everything I've made with it, so that kind of sucks, but it does work in a way that kind of makes sense now. It does limit its uses because you now cannot electrically heat your furnace without using a gigawatt of power, enough power to go back in time. But anyway, so I guess that's that for the update. You can no longer fudge the furnace. You can no longer have an easy electrically heated furnace. You cannot easily do the cannot do it. Oh, you fix it so I can't do it, Rocketworks. Well, challenge accepted. And there it is, an electrically heated furnace, sort of. It's actually in a gold and cobalt powered furnace. So we will have a go at this one here. Now I have switched them off so they're not quite as noisy. We have a furnace. It's currently empty. Let's put some stuff in it. Away we go. We shall open them up. It is cold, but we've got some gas in it. That'll do us. Now that's sealed up. I can, well, switch on me heaters, and I can sort of chuck in some cobalt. It won't melt now. It's not hot enough, but it's heating up in there, and that's all that matters. Once that's heated up, now the cobalt will produce some hydrogen as it melts. So this just has to heat it up enough to melt the cobalt. So that might take a little while. It's got to get up to 100 something degrees. It'll get there, slowly but surely. Maybe edit so it's not quite that long. There we go, getting up to 100 degrees it should start to melt. We should see some hydrogen start to appear. There we go, hydrogen's turning up. Temperature is still too low. I do have a bit of oxygen in there from the atmosphere. So I might just seal that up with a frame. Nope, let's try that one. Right, seal you up to make you a bit more thermally efficient. Oops, there's my hydrogen done. So in there now I should have the hydrogen from that. So I've got 14% hydrogen. Now I do have some oxygen in there from the atmosphere. So now I should be able to switch them off. And I should now just be able to click that and we get combustion. There we go, now up to 700 degrees. I can now chuck in my gold. That should all melt, producing more oxygen. Now what we've got there is just a load of crap. It's gold and cobalt, that won't do anything. What I can do now is chutes. I can now close up that. And what I do now is pull the lever. The garbage that's in there will come out as a reagent mix. It'll go into the recycler, which will separate it out, back into the centrifuge. That will come out of there regassed and ready to go. So if I pull the lever, it'll spit that crap out. Goes through the recycler, into the centrifuge, back into here. So it's melting the cobalt again, which will give us some more hydrogen and more gold. So up goes our temperature again. Up to 700, 770, 800 degrees. And I've lost some of my metals in there. I can pull the button and let it go again. Get out of there. And as it comes through the process again, it should start heating up again. So what do we have? 890 degrees. We're getting there. There you go. You have a self-fueled, self-heating oven. Now, if you put in extra gold, you can then siphon off the extra oxygen it produces. If you put in extra cobalt, it'll produce extra hydrogen. And you can just siphon them off and it will provide enough heat to keep the thing going, and you can just run that around and around again. So that will be a self-heating. Well, it was electric to start it off, but as soon as we had that going, I suppose still runs on electricity. That's an electrically heated furnace. I can then siphon that heat off into something else through a heat exchanger and use that in another furnace somewhere. So it's 1200 degrees. That's hot enough to smelt most things, except the hottest ones. So there you go. I can't build an electric heater with the air conditioner. I can still build an electric furnace though. Ha ha! But can I cool Vulcan with a single air conditioner? Oh, there's a trick. Can I? Challenge accepted. Once again, with a furnace. Okay, I have set up my little room here. I've set up my air conditioner. It is just sucking in here, blowing out here, and the waste is actually hooked up to the furnace. Up here. Well, the furnace is hooked up to the centrifuge, which is then hooked up to the furnace, and so on. So now I probably need to get some gas in there to get it started, won't I? Because you're not going to do anything. Right, so I need to put get something in there. So I can just grab you and just for the moment I can steal you. That'll get enough gas into the furnace to get it going, and we're good. Now you're doing nothing. The furnace should now be chuffing along. It has indeed melted all that iron, so let's seal it up. with the welder. Yep, thank you for that. I'll need to get power to the centrifuge, which would help as well. Complete the circle there, get power to the centrifuge, and we should be good to go. Right, we have power to the centrifuge. So if I switch E on, now the temperature in here is 346 degrees. So if I pull you out, let you go through the centrifuge, and back out into the furnace. It melts again, and we see the temperature drops down to 220 degrees, and which it drops out, and it'll go through again, and temperature drops down to 170, 190, and so we go there, and the temperature just keeps going down, the pressure keeps going up as it outgasses, and now I have a source of cold there down to there we go, I think it goes down to about 90 degrees, and then I can switch on my air conditioner and cool the room. That's down to 115 degrees, which is plenty cold enough now to cool this room, which will still take a little while, but we'll get there. Once again, you can see it's now dropping in temperature rather rapidly because we've got a good operational temperature efficiency of 99%. Our pressure is starting to go down a bit, so we're losing a bit of efficiency in that. Pressure differential is going down because this is operating more efficiently. It's pumping more and more heat into the pipe, and it needs a colder temperature in the pipe because it gets colder in here. But the pipe is staying, the furnace is absorbing that heat quite nicely. That's here holding it at 118 degrees. As I in here, we're down to 58. This one will cool down quite quickly. So that's how you can still cool down your room with one air conditioner, and it'll do it a lot quicker than the whole stack of them that we've got on the other ones there. So there's still a way to do it. So that's about it for the update on the furnaces. Now, don't get me wrong, the use of the centrifuge in these things there as an exploit is definitely an exploit. It's not meant to be part of the game. It's just a bit of a challenge to get things thinking outside the box, I guess you'd say. But yeah, but that's the new atmospherics kit, the new air conditioner, I should say. It has been deglitchified, so I think it probably needs to be made a bit more powerful to be useful, because the only planet where you really need it, you need a crap ton of them to actually be useful. So yeah, I dare say it'll get rebalanced as we move on, but we shall see how we go. I'm not sure if this change to the input pipe length has been transferred to all the other machines or whether it's just this one, but I guess we'll find out as we go. But that's about it for today, so till next time, happy building. See ya.